The Colosseum is famous for its gladiators, fighting to the death for honor. But that's not what the crowds came to see. The real spectacle, the one they craved, was a punishment reserved for the lowest of the low, a date with the beasts. The roar is a physical thing. It presses in from all sides, a wall of sound from 50,000 throats, echoing under the blistering Roman sun. The air is thick with the smell of sweat, wine, and something metallic and sweet, the smell of yesterday's blood, already baked into the sand. A gate groans open at the far end of the arena floor. This isn't the gate for the gladiators, the heroes who will emerge to the sound of trumpets. This is a low, dark opening, a maw leading to the labyrinth below the Colosseum. From the shadows, it emerges. Not a man, but a beast. A Barbary lion, larger than any horse. Its mane a shaggy halo around a face of pure, predatory instinct. Its eyes, yellow and cold, scan the arena. The crowd's roar intensifies, a wave of anticipation. But this is the strange part. The condemned man, standing alone in the center of that vast, sandy stage, knows this isn't just about his death. He sees the senators in their shaded boxes, the merchants, the soldiers, the women, even the children. A father lifts his young son onto his shoulders to get a better view. They aren't just here to see a man die. They are here to watch a story. His terror is their entertainment, his execution a moral lesson written in blood. This was Damnatio ad Bestias, condemnation to the beasts. It was more than a punishment. It was the darkest form of theater ever conceived. It was a public ritual designed not only to end a life, but to erase a person from history, to turn their death into a gruesome spectacle that reinforced the power of Rome. So how did the greatest empire in the world make a public festival out of a man's final, terrifying moments? To understand how the screams of the dying became the soundtrack to a Roman holiday, we have to look at the city itself. By the 1st century AD, Rome is the undisputed center of the world. A sprawling metropolis of over 1 million souls. But it is a city of extremes of unimaginable wealth, living alongside desperate poverty. This creates a volatile powder keg. The emperors know that to maintain control, they need more than just legions and laws. They need a release valve. They need to keep the mob fed and, most importantly, entertained. This policy is known as panem et circenses, bread and circuses. The Colosseum is the beating heart of this strategy. It isn't just an amphitheater, it is a weapon of social control. The games are a demonstration of the emperor's power and generosity. They are spectacles on a scale the world has never seen, sometimes lasting for more than 100 days. And while gladiatorial combat is a key feature, the true display of Rome's dominance comes from the exotic beasts. Lions from Africa, bears from Caledonia, tigers from Persia. These creatures are captured at enormous expense and shipped across the empire. By bringing the wildest, most terrifying animals from the farthest corners of the known world and slaughtering them in the heart of Rome, the emperor sends a clear message. Rome controls everything. Even nature itself bows to its will. The personal stakes for the condemned are absolute. A terrifying, humiliating, and public death. They are not just being executed. They are being dehumanized, turned into props in a state-sponsored play. Their crime, whether it's robbery, rebellion, or simply belonging to the wrong religion, is erased. They become nothing more than the antagonist in a story that always ends with Rome as the victor. But the public stakes are far greater. These executions are a brutal theatrical warning. This is what happens to enemies of the state. This is the fate of those who challenge the gods of Rome. This is the price of disorder. The fuse is lit in 64 AD, when a great fire consumes the city. The Emperor Nero, facing a furious populace, needs a scapegoat. His eyes fall upon a new and misunderstood religious sect, the Christians. The order is given. The games must be spectacular, and the beasts of the arena will be fed. The journey to the arena floor begins in absolute darkness. The condemned are held in the hypogeum, the sprawling two-story labyrinth beneath the Colosseum floor. It is a world of its own, a damp, foul-smelling maze of stone corridors, animal cages, and holding cells. The prisoners are packed together, listening. They can hear the muffled roar of the crowd above, a constant, terrifying reminder of their fate. More chilling, however, are the sounds that echo through the tunnels with them. The low growl of a leopard, the guttural snarl of a bear, and the deep, chest-rattling roar of a lion. The beasts are here, hungry, and they are waiting. For the Christians of the 1st and 2nd centuries, this terror is met with a strange and powerful conviction. In their letters and accounts, passed secretly between communities, they do not see this as a defeat. For them, martyrdom is the ultimate victory. To be torn apart by beasts is to imitate the suffering of Christ, to become God's wheat, ground by the teeth of lions to be made into pure bread. They believe that their public, agonizing death will be a testament to their faith, a seed that will inspire 100 new converts. This belief is a form of spiritual armor. As they are herded from their cells, they do not beg or weep. They sing hymns. Their defiance is their last and only weapon. But the Romans are masters of breaking the human spirit. The hope of a noble, defiant death is the first thing they seek to destroy. A prisoner is led from the pitch-black tunnels up a ramp and shoved through a gate into the blinding light. The sheer sensory overload is an assault. The dazzling sun, the wall of noise from 50,000 screaming spectators, the vastness of the arena, it is designed to make a person feel utterly small and insignificant. The Romans do not simply throw them to the beasts. They turn the execution into a twisted piece of theater. One of the cruelest methods involves mythological reenactment. A condemned man might be dressed in the elaborate costume of Orpheus, the mythical musician who could charm wild animals with his song. He is given a lyre and pushed to the center of the arena. The crowd quiets, anticipating the story they all know. A gate opens, and a bear, starved for days, lumbers onto the sand. The man's sacred act of martyrdom is perverted into a sick joke for the masses. His final moments of faith are just another scene in a pagan play. The true horror, however, isn't the animal. It's the system. It slowly dawns on the condemned that nothing here is left to chance. The beast masters, the bestiarii, are experts in animal cruelty. They use long poles with sharpened goads to provoke the animals, sometimes smearing the victim with animal blood to encourage a more aggressive attack. The animals themselves are deliberately kept in darkness and starved to make them disoriented and ferocious. The spectacle is a carefully engineered product. The sand on the arena floor is not just sand. It is a stage, meticulously prepared. Below it, an army of stagehands operates a complex series of elevators and trapdoors. At any moment, the emperor, or the game's director, the editor, can give a signal, and another beast can appear as if from nowhere. Sprung from a hidden door in the floor, this is the point of no return. It is the devastating realization that they are not just victims, but unwilling actors in a meticulously produced performance of death. Their suffering is being managed for maximum dramatic effect. A quick death is a disappointing show. The goal is prolonged terror. The true enemy is not the lion waiting in the cage, but the cold, calculating mind that designed the cage, starved the lion, and timed its release to the roar of the crowd. They are trapped in a machine built for the sole purpose of turning their final, agonizing breaths into a thrilling spectacle for a holiday audience. The final walk is a study in methodical terror, A woman is dragged to the center of the arena and tied to a stake. She can see the imperial box, a shaded balcony where the emperor sits, bored, perhaps enjoying a fig. He gives a lazy, almost imperceptible signal. Time seems to slow. The roar of the crowd fades to a distant hum. She can feel the heat of the sand through her thin sandals, see the individual faces in the front rows. Men, women, even children, all watching with a hungry fascination. A gate creaks open. A lioness, lean and powerful, pads silently onto the sand. For a moment, it seems confused by the light and noise. Then its eyes lock on the motionless figure. The PG-13 rule applies here. We do not see the attack. Instead, we see its effect. A collective gasp ripples through the crowd. A senator in his white toga turns his head away. The roaring noise of the mob returns, but it has changed. It is higher, more excited. A single piercing scream is cut brutally short. The show is over. For now. Two arena attendants dressed as Charon, the ferryman of the dead, walk onto the stage. One carries a long-handled mallet, the other, a red-hot iron. He prods the body to ensure death. There is no dignity here. The corpse is hooked and dragged unceremoniously towards the Porta Libitinaria, the gate of death. It leaves a dark, wet trail across the sand. Before the body has even disappeared from view, other attendants are already moving in, raking the sand over the blood, preparing the stage for the next act. For the thousands still watching, this death was just an appetizer before the main event, the gladiators. As the last body was dragged from the sand, the day's work in the Colosseum was far from over. Attendants would quickly rake the blood-soaked sand, the arena, from which we get our word arena, to prepare for the next spectacle. For the Roman audience, the execution was a fleeting moment, a gory interlude. The official records sought to complete the process. By order of the state, the victim's name was struck from all records, their property seized, their very memory intended for oblivion. This was the final punishment. Not just death, but total erasure from history. But this act of erasure had the opposite effect. The Romans believed they were destroying their enemies, but they were creating martyrs. Every execution was a public sermon. The stories of those who faced the beasts with courage and faith were not forgotten. They were secretly written down and circulated among the growing Christian communities. Tertullian, an early Christian author, would later write the famous line, "The blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church." The Colosseum, intended as a stage to display Rome's absolute power, became the most effective recruiting tool for the faith it sought to destroy. The spectacle of their deaths, meant to inspire terror, instead inspired a strange and powerful curiosity that ultimately helped Christianity grow from a fringe sect into the dominant religion of the Western world. The ghost of this practice lingers in the heart of Rome itself. Today, the Colosseum is one of the most visited tourist destinations on the planet. Millions walk its corridors, stand where the senators once sat, and take pictures of the arena floor. It is seen as a magnificent ruin, a symbol of architectural genius. But the machine is still there. Every tourist selfie is taken on the grounds of a former death factory. And in the ultimate twist of history, the Catholic Church, the successor to the faith Rome tried to wipe out, now sees the Colosseum as a sacred site of martyrdom. Every Good Friday, the Pope leads a procession there, marking the Stations of the Cross. The ultimate symbol of pagan brutality has been transformed into a monument for its victims, a silent, stone testament to the fact that while the empire fell, the faith of the condemned endured. The greatest horror of the Colosseum was not the lions or the bears. It was the 50,000 spectators who paid for a ticket, found their seats, and settled in to watch a human being be torn apart as part of their day's entertainment. They were not monsters. They were ordinary people, participating in a system designed to keep them content. It stands as a chilling reminder of how easily a society can normalize brutality, transforming a person's death into a public spectacle for the sake of order and distraction. The Roman state built the arena, but it was the roar of the crowd that filled it with purpose. This form of execution was ultimately a tool of state control, disguised as a public festival. What do you find most disturbing about this forgotten form of punishment? Let us know in the comments below. If you find value in uncovering these dark histories, be sure to subscribe and join us for the next chapter.